All right, today I want to look at a little all-in-one API endpoint for working with the eSIM Access API. I made a little Postman library with a single all-in-one endpoint. And this works based on Google App Scripts. Here's the instructions on how you can get this set up. Before we look at the Google App Script, let's just take a look at what this endpoint does. So here we see the endpoint here, and it doesn't need any API key. That's all set in the app script. So if I run this, we are going to go visit the eSIM Access API, and it's going to return back, in this first case, our eSIM access balance. And it does a couple things, like it strips away some of the excess JSON, so it just gives you a quite simple US dollar formatted response. So let's look at a few other things you can do. So now we see that we have some money in our eSIM access account. Let's take a look at what this product here is. Okay, so we're going to look at this US_1_7. So when we do that, we get returned back the full details of this particular product. So we see it's 90 cents. We see it's a United States 1 gigabyte 7-day plan. We get the slug, we get the package code, and we get additional details about the product. So that's the next thing we can do. So if you want to look up any product, if we just come here, we can just edit this. Let's take a look at Spain, for example. And if we run this, so this is running to the app script, coming back and returning the details of the Spain 1 gigabyte 7-day plan. So the next thing we can do is we can actually make an order. So by using this quantity function, we're going to add a quantity of 1. We're actually going to go ahead and order this eSIM. So here we go. Okay, so here's our order ID. Now we're going to want to copy and save that. If I remove these now and I run just the balance check, don't know if I remember what my balance was, but I think it was 136. Now the balance has gone down. Okay, so now I saved this order number. Let's take a look at what we purchased. So we just come here and we send the order number, and what you can't see here is that we are appending the URL with these parameters. So these are URL parameters in a GET request. So here we run this. Okay, now we have just done a lookup here for this order number. Okay, and this is all the eSIM details. Here's the QR code, there's the LPA string, and this is all the details of this particular eSIM. Okay, we can additionally come here and grab the iccid, and let's just say we want to, it's 1 or 2 days later, we want to check up and see what is the current status. So we can come here and I'll just show you. As you see, we append the iccid parameter with the iccid. We make the request, and there's the same result. So you might want to do this because you're checking, this is the total volume, and then you're checking order usage, how much has been used so far, how many gigabytes have been used. And this value here is in bytes in this particular case. Okay, well, let's say we're done with this particular order. We just kind of did our test here. We can just click on this action. We'll add the cancel functionality to this one, and we'll run that here. And it should send a request to the cancel endpoint requesting that this iccid is canceled. And then here, if we check the status of it again, let's just see. We can check here, eSIM status cancel. So that worked. And then after a little while, I don't know if it'll reflect right away. It usually takes a little bit of time. It should reflect here again. Yep, now we're at 128. So we've already got the refund. So in addition, there's a couple more things we can do. So let's say, we've been using the Spanish eSIM, and we'd like to see what top-ups are available. So if we add this action top-up, so we have now the slug and then top-up. We can see here all the available top-up plans for that. So you can see here we've got all these listed. Okay, so now I've got a USA plan. This one I've actually run a top-up on. I'll send this request again just so we can see it. And if we look down here, we can see the top up and we can see the original plan. Okay, so let's say I want to top this one up. Well, all I need is my iccid, and then I need, we can do that with the US plan. Let's take a look at US plan and then action top up. Now we're going to look at the available top ups for this USA plan. Okay, so we can see here we have a 1 gigabyte, we can top up for 3. Let me see, what do I can, okay, so I'm going to top up right now with this one. So we could use this package code, but in this API, the way I've set it up, just to kind of not use too many different parameters, I'm going to use this USA slug. I'm going to use the action of top up, and I am going to use the iccid of the eSIM we want to top up. Okay, so running this right here should make a top up request. Let's try. Okay, I think we did not get the resulting top up. Let's see, slug action top up. Ah, I need to add a quantity, I believe. Let's see if that's the reason why. Okay, so maybe this did not fire. Let's just see. We'll take a look at the plan again. Oh, it did seem to fire. Here we go. There's the top up. So it did work. The response that it gave was not correct somehow, but we did fire a top up. So that did work. The very last thing we want to check out is, let's take a look at a daily plan. And for a daily plan, I think we just do this actually. Okay, yeah, so you can validate to see if you have a valid package. There it is. So we do have a valid package. This is price $1.30 for the US daily. So if I want to order the daily, it's a little bit different than a standard plan because they need to know how many days you want. So I'm going to add this to tell them I want to order one, and then we're going to pick the number of days. Here, let's just say 3 days, and we'll make an order for 3 days. Okay, there's the order number. Now let's take this order number, we'll place it back over here. And let's check our order. There is our order. There is our total duration of 3 days. And we see that we've got it ready to be installed. And then again, if I'm just testing and we want to cancel it, let's just come over here. We'll just add the cancel action. We need to use the iccid to cancel. Let's put that iccid in here and cancel. There's the cancellation, and that just took the iccid and cancel. So in the documentation, I'll put some of the different possible use cases for it and some of the kind of the endpoints, but it's pretty simple. And so let me just show you now what the script looks like. So this is the instructions on how you can get the Google script. It's a Google app script. You just install it in your, if you use Google Docs, you can see it in any Google Doc. The link to it is right here. Let me see if I click that, what happens. Yeah, this is kind of what it looks like here. And then let's take a look at the actual script. Okay, so this is how it looks inside of your Google Apps script. You're just going to have a single file here. It's going to have all the code to handle basically the different API endpoints. And then what you'll do is you'll deploy it publicly, so you can access this publicly. You'll put in your access code here. You'll find that in your eSIM access account, and then you just put your access code, and now it has access via the API to your account, and you can use these functions. So you can make a copy of this, save it, deploy it. When you deploy, you're going to get something that looks like this. You'll get a deployment ID in this URL. This URL right here is what we find right here. So we just replace that. If I do it right now, I'll show you, just replace it. If I run that, you'll know if it works right away if you get your balance. So if you get a balance with your Google generated URL, you've got a working script. In summary, all you need to do is install the JSON of this Postman API endpoint, and then you need to go into your Google app script and include this as a file. You need to deploy it, and then after you deploy, you're going to get a URL. You're going to come back here, put your one URL here, and you'll be able to use all of these. You can use it if you want to get your head around it.